Hello, everyone. Welcome to Mittler Senior Technology. Joe, you can stop sharing the stop sharing. There we go. Okay. Hi, everyone. Welcome. I hope everyone is having an excellent Father's Day. And I want to welcome everyone to our next cycle of Zoom classes. This class, I started this whole program a few years ago when I wanted to teach seniors how to use technology in order to enhance their lives, sending text messages and connecting with this whole new world of technology. And that's where the basis of this program came from. And I'm very happy that you're all here. We have a great 10 weeks planned for you where you're going to be learning a lot of material. And I'm going to go through a few of the things now about things you should know before we actually get into material, about kind of times for the class, when this class is happening, and a few other details. So Joe, you can go back to the screen share. I first want to just introduce my team members who are going to be helping me and teaching as part of the class. My name is Jordan Mittler. I'm the director and founder of this program, and I will be teaching parts of this semester. Next is Julia Feit. She's the content and layout advisor. She helps me organize the slides and makes it all look pretty. And she's also going to be helping me teaching this semester. Caroline Schwartz is the social media advisor. She works on the Instagram and the YouTube and basically advertises this class. And Joe Kaplan is the IT advisor. He's running all the tech aspects to the class, making the slides appear and the videos play, and everything just looked great. Okay, so those are the four members of the team, and in the next slide or two, I'm going to give you all of our emails, so you have the ability to contact us or reach out to any of us if you have any questions over the course of the next 10 weeks. All right, Joe, next. So before we actually get into something, I just want to read the mission of our program, which has been the same mission from the beginning. It is the responsibility of the younger generation to educate seniors about technology. The goal of Mittler Senior Technology is to cure the issue of social isolation to help senior citizens feel connected with the new world of technology. Each of our self-made classes strives to educate seniors how to communicate with friends and family in the manners we are accustomed to today, and how to use technological tools to enhance and simplify their daily lives. Okay. So I'm hoping that in the next 10 weeks, you're going to learn both cool things you could do on the phones and on the computers that will help enhance your life, specifically now during the COVID-19 pandemic. All right, next. So here are the details about the class. Now, I'm actually offering 3 classes during the summer. You are currently in the class called Technology During Coronavirus. It's the weekly class. This class occurs, it's weekly, and it occurs every Sunday from 11:30 to 12:30 using the same Zoom information that you use today. The meeting ID I'll show you again, but if you all manage to get into the Zoom today, that means that you were successful and know how to get into the meeting. Now, on a side note, every Tuesday from 7 to 7:45 p.m., I offer a Q&A session. Now, this is for seniors who would like to ask personal questions on either devices they have at home, if they have specific problems with their phone or their computer outside of the class. And also, if you guys have questions about what we do during Sunday's class, it's very hard to answer specific questions during today's class. So if you do have personal and individual questions, feel free to join the Q&A session every Tuesday at 7 p.m. It is using the same Zoom information as this class. Now, one more class I want to mention is on Thursdays from 4 to 4:55. That's my bad. It should be 4 to 4:55. I hold a technology course affiliated with UJA with Holocaust survivors, and it's a great class, and you're all free to participate in that class as well. So once again, you're currently in the weekly Sunday class, takes place 11:30 to 12:30 p.m. And a Q&A session if you have questions on what we do during Sunday or personal questions regarding your technology devices at home. That's from 7 to 7:45. And my UJA self-help class takes place on Thursday from 4 to 4:45, from 4:55, not 5:55, 4:55. Now, we actually have a lot of material to get through in the next 10 weeks. So I ask that every week you join a few minutes early so that we could start exactly on time. Now, I am going to go through a few of the other things listed here. Basically, the way this class is run is every week, and we're going to focus on different topics. And at the end of every session, I'm gonna assign you guys into breakout rooms, which is something that I'm going to explain later if you don't know what that is yet. Because if you've taken my class before, you do know what those are, but I will talk about that later. And also at the end of every class, I give you a few things that are optional, obviously, optional homework based off of what we did this class. So today, if we spend time on FaceTime, I might say, make a FaceTime call, meaning basically the homework is to help you do some of the things that we work on in class without me being here and without me actually helping you through everything. Now, all right, Joe, next. So the way I contact everyone is through a program called WhatsApp. And I send messages and updates and recordings of the class all through WhatsApp. If you are currently not in the WhatsApp chat, or if you do not know what WhatsApp is, or if you do not have WhatsApp, this Tuesday, June 23rd, the Q&A session from 7 to 7:45, the first half will be dedicated to WhatsApp, and I will explain how to get onto my WhatsApp and all that, because that is the only way I contact you, and it's important that you're involved in the WhatsApp. So if you do not currently receive my WhatsApp messages, please come on Tuesday to the Q&A where I will explain how to do that. If you do have WhatsApp and you know how to use WhatsApp and you're just not in, if you're not in the my WhatsApp group, you should type into the internet mittlersenior.technology/WhatsApp. And that will get you into the WhatsApp. Once again, it's mittlersenior.technology/WhatsApp, and that's assuming you already have WhatsApp and you know how to use it. If you do not know what I'm talking about or do not have this downloaded on your phone, please come on Tuesday to our WhatsApp tutorial during the Q&A session. All right, next. Now, above here is the information I sent you, and you probably should have received if you entered the Zoom today. The link is mittlersenior.technology/Zoom, and the meeting ID is 838-464-615. This is the same information every week. It's not something that changes every week. It's going to be the same meeting ID and the same link every week. And also below, all our emails are basically our first name followed by mittlerseniortech.com. If you want to contact us or reach out to any of us, please feel free to do so with any questions. It's basically just our name, Jordan at mittlerseniortech.com, and Julia, Caroline, and Joe. Okay, next slide. All right, so I thought that for today's lesson, for our first lesson, we should open up. Now, I'm very proud of everyone because they were able to get onto Zoom, and that's something that a lot of people cannot do, especially now. So that's great. They were all able to actually successfully open up and get into the Zoom meeting. But there are a few other cool things that you could do with Zoom that I'm going to talk about today, followed by FaceTime, a program similar to Zoom, but it allows you to make face-to-face phone calls without being there with someone. And then lastly, accessing the news, something that I think is specifically relevant now. And this is specific to your phone. So I'm going to show you on your smartphones how to access the news. So besides from Zoom, FaceTime, and accessing the news will be on the phones. If you do not have a computer currently with you, that's totally okay. Zoom is also accessible on the phones. I'm sure many of you are right now on your phones, and that's totally fine. There are a few lessons in the next 10 weeks that will be focused on the computer, but that's fine. You can sit and listen, and you can still learn even if you do not have a computer physically with you. All right. So we are going to start now with Zoom, our first topic. You know what? Let me hold back for a second. Does anyone have any questions right now on any of the kind of prep information about times of the class, accessing the class? I see Renee, you have a question. Joe, you want to unmute? Renee, give us 1 second. We should have to unmute you. There we go. All right, you can ask your question. Go ahead.
Yes, are copies of these lessons, are they online on your website, like the outline that we're going through now with you?
Great, thank you for asking that. I forgot to mention that. Every class, every week is recording. You can see at the top left, if you have on your computer, it says recording with a blinking red dot. I record the classes, and I will send you via WhatsApp a link to access the recorded version of the class, just in case you missed a segment or want to rewatch pieces of the class. I will send that to you following the class every week.
So all of the recordings from each week are accessible, and
Right,
it doesn't expire at the end of the week.
No.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Are there any more questions before we actually get into the material for today? Okay. I'm going to show you soon how to raise your hand virtually. It's kind of hard for me to see if you're raising your hand. Geeta, do you have a question? Geeta, you have to unmute yourself. Geeta, you have to unmute yourself. Okay, Geeta, I'm sorry, I can't hear you, but you can message me afterwards. Okay. Paul, I see your hand is raised. This is gonna be the last question, and then I want to move on. Yes, go ahead.
I'm watching you on a phone right now because that's the only way the WhatsApp works on a phone. Is it possible to receive a link through email so I can watch it on a tablet as well on a bigger screen?
Okay. So every week I send out, there's two parts of the Zoom. There's the link, which is something you could just directly click on. And then there's the meeting ID. If you're joining on your phone, all you have to do is click on the link I send, and that's it. And then you'll automatically join the meeting. If you want to join on, let's say, your computer or your iPad or somewhere where you can't actually access the link, you should click on join meeting and type in that 9-digit meeting code, or copy and send yourself the link. For those of you who specifically want to receive emails, you could let me know personally, but I prefer to use WhatsApp. But if any of you would like specific emails regarding the classes, please let me know and I can make that happen. Okay, Joe, next slide. All right, so we are now going to start with Zoom. We're going to cover a bunch of topics that are specifically relevant to joining a meeting, hosting a meeting, and muting, unmuting yourself. And Julia is going to start with that. Yeah, she's here. All right, go ahead.
Hi guys, I'm Julia. So right now you're all on Zoom, but there's a lot more to Zoom. There's many functions that you will all be able to use once I teach you all of the different functions. So Zoom is a free service that lets you video chat with large groups of people on your mobile device. And you can also use a computer, and Zoom is more of a formal meeting. So as opposed to FaceTime, which is more personal. So the big difference between Zoom and other video chat services is the number of possible participants. So Zoom allows you to have a maximum of 1,000 people on a video, and there's both a free service of Zoom and a premium service. So you can, if you buy the premium service, there's many functions such as breakout rooms or recording the session that you can do. Businesses, schools, and other organizations use Zoom to conduct meetings, hold classes, and host virtual events. So many schools have switched to Zoom as a form of online learning, and also businesses are able to hold meetings and organizations are able to have events through Zoom. Another key feature is that participants don't need a Zoom account or even the Zoom app to join a meeting. While this makes Zoom more user-friendly, skipping those steps will limit what you can do. So without a premium account, there aren't as many functions that you can use, but you're still able to join a meeting for your first time by just clicking on the link and not even downloading the Zoom app. Okay, so there's a couple different ways of how to join a new meeting on Zoom. So I'm first going to explain to you how to do it on your computer, and then I'm going to explain to you how to do it on your phone because they're a little different. So if you want to join an already existing meeting, like you all have right now, you're going to click on that plus button, the join, and you would type in the meeting ID and the password that's given to you by the host. This, when you do this on your phone, you're also given the option to change your name. So you can put in, if your preset name is just your phone number or your email, you're able to change that to the preferred name that you want people to see displayed on the bottom of your picture. You can also choose the settings if you want to connect to audio, meaning you want to hear what everybody else is saying and you want them to hear you, and whether you want your video on, whether you want other people to see a picture of you, or you just want a blank screen with your name on it. So you would join using that meeting ID, and then most meetings also have a password to protect the Zoom meeting. So you would type in that password.
This meeting does not have a password. All
Yeah.
you have to do is the meeting ID.
So then once you type in that password, it's going to give you the option to either join with or without the video. And so that's how you would join a Zoom meeting using the ID or password. But another way to join a Zoom meeting is by just using the link that was sent to you, which I'm sure many of you did because this link was sent to the WhatsApp chat. So all you need to do then, if you go to the next slide, Joe, all you need to do is click on the link that was sent to you, and that should also bring you into the Zoom meeting. So as you can see in this email, there's two options. You can either click on the link to get into the Zoom meeting, or you can use this meeting ID and password below to get into the same Zoom meeting, and either should work. Also, you can see in the link, like right after the words, after the letter J, you could see 722-9666-09100. So that actually is the meeting ID embedded within the link. So even if you only received the link and you didn't receive the meeting ID, you still know the meeting because it's already in the link. Next slide. Okay, so once you're already in your Zoom meeting, there's a bunch of different functions that you can do. So as you can see all the way on the left, there's the mute and unmute button. So sometimes the host will choose to control this function. If they want all of the participants in the meeting to be muted, then they can mute all the participants and you won't be able to unmute yourself unless the host unmutes you. But in other meetings that are less formal, you're able to mute and unmute yourself as you want. And so you just want to make sure that you're muted when you're not talking so there's no feedback. Right next to that on the right is the stop video. So some of you right now have your cameras on, and that means that everyone in the meeting can see you. But if you press on that button, that will stop your video, meaning that nobody will be able to see a picture of you and it's just going to display your name instead. Then towards the middle on the left, you can see the participants. So if you click on that, it will give you a list of all the participants in the meeting. So you can see who's in the meeting. You can see who the host is, meaning who's in charge of the meeting. And that way you can also see who's in that meeting. Then right next to that is the chat function. So that depends on whether the host enables that, but you can either chat with everyone in the room, or you can chat with a specific person in the meeting, or you can chat just to the host. Depending on the host settings, you're allowed to chat with people. So you guys can all test that out. You can try and chat with somebody. So if you send a message and you click on chat, you could see there's a blue button that appears, and you can choose who you're going to send a message to. If you choose everyone, that means that everybody in this Zoom meeting will receive that message. But if you scroll down, you can choose specific people that you want to message. Then
let me try one thing. In this Zoom, everyone is going to be muted when you first join the Zoom meeting. I have that. I control this mute unmute. If you have a question, I will unmute you. But because there are occasional feedback issues and there's kind of background noise, I make sure that everyone's muted. Besides from me and Julia when we're talking, so that you could hear us as clear as possible. I also ask that you keep your videos on when possible, because it makes it a much more interactive experience when we could see your faces, and it's more similar to how we would be in the classroom. So if possible, please turn on your videos during the class. And then, as Julia was explaining about the chat, you have the ability to send messages to everyone, or specifically just to me. So if you have a question, make sure that in the chat you select either just me or Julia, and not everyone. So if you want to test that out, you all have the ability to send a message right now. You can click on the chat button on the bottom of your screen. If you're on the phone, you might need to click on more, in order to see the chat option. That should be at the bottom, and you could send a message. All right, Julia, go ahead.
Okay, also one more thing for the chat function. If you have a question and you think that it will benefit everyone, you can send that question to everyone, or you can ask us to unmute you. That way you can say your question in front of the class. Okay, then right next to the chat function is share screen. So right now, none of you will be able to share your screen because Joe is sharing the screen with all of the slides. The way that Zoom works is only one person is allowed to share their screen at a time, meaning that all of the content on Joe's screen is being displayed in front of everyone in this class so that they can see the slides. If you were to make your own Zoom meeting and you wanted to show somebody content, then you can share your screen and that will show your desktop or whatever file you want to show them, and it will display it on the screen for everybody. Then next to the share screen is the record function. So right now you can see that this meeting is being recorded, and at the end of the class, Jordan will receive a file with the entire lesson recorded. So you're only able to record a meeting if you are the host of the meeting, if you are the one who created the meeting and you're in charge of the meeting. If not, you don't have the option to record the meeting. You can always ask the host to record it if you want to. And then finally, right next to the record function is reactions. So this is a quick way if somebody says something funny or you like something, if you click on the reactions button, you get either the clapping emoji or the thumbs up emoji. And you can just put that, if you click on that, it will put it in the corner of your screen. And it's just a cute way to show that you either approve of something or if you just want to play around with it. It's very easy to do. You just click on reactions and you choose which one you want. And then finally, all the way on the left is the red leave button. When you're done with the meeting, or if you need to leave for some emergency reason, you click on that red button and it will leave the meeting and go out of Zoom.
All right, I'll do hosting a meeting. So the reason why we're going to show this to you today is because a lot of people are using Zoom. Maybe if they want to host a family gathering or some sort of celebration. Today's Father's Day. You could have a virtual kind of gathering with your family on Zoom. Zoom is what most families are using now in order to have family interactions without actually being with one another. And trust me, your grandchildren will be very, very impressed if you know how to set up a Zoom meeting. That's very, very impressive. It basically starts the same way as you would join a meeting. You can see here is our plus over here. On the left side over here, but directly to the left of it, there's another button. It says New Meeting. All you have to do is click on that orange. It looks like an orange with a white video camera, and once you click on that, you're starting a new meeting. You're creating the meeting, and all that is all you have to do is just click on that button, and you would have started the Zoom meeting. This is the same. This is the same on your phone. You just click on that orange button that says New Meeting. Once you're in the meeting, you're going to see directly to the right of this picture, you're going to see at the top left, kind of a little eye with a circle around it. You can see here, Joe, you want to just go back. You want to just put your mouse around it so they see the eye. There you go. Yeah, Joe's mouse is right on top of it. That's all the way at the top left of your Zoom. And if you click on it, it will show you the information that you could share. So including the meeting ID, which I underlined in red, and the invite link, which I underlined in red. You can click on copy link and share that with your friends and family. So let's say I started this Zoom meeting and I want Joe and Julia to join this meeting. I'm now going to open my text message and text them 882-8356-5302, and they'll be able to join the meeting just like you joined today. And once again, you could join either using that meeting ID by typing it in or by clicking on copy link and sharing around that link. Now, some meetings do require passwords. I turned off passwords because I want to make it as easy for you as possible, so you don't have to type in so many numbers and information. But some meeting IDs will require a password. If it does, it will say directly below meeting ID password and then give you that 4 or 5-digit number that you'll have to type in. After you type in the meeting ID, it will ask you for the password. Now, the only difference with the bar you see on the bottom, all the way at the bottom right, Instead of seeing leave, you're going to see end meeting. Because you're the host, you're controlling the meeting, you have the ability to actually mute, unmute, and do everything that I'm doing in order to control the meeting. Now, there's after you click on end meeting, you'll have the option to either leave the meeting or end the meeting. End the meeting means everyone's out, that's it, the meeting's over. If you click on leave meeting, then you could leave, and people in the meeting can still talk. So you'll see at the end of this class, I am going to leave the meeting at the end, and have the people at the end kind of just stay in the meeting if you want to continue talking. There's a difference between leaving and ending. Leaving is you're departing from the meeting, and ending is you're actually closing out the entire meeting, and no one else can actually stay in the meeting. All right, Joe, next. Okay, now there's one thing I want to mention with this. It's that a few of you right now, I see that your name is your phone number, or it says someone's phone or something like that, and it's really hard for me to be able to tell who you are if your name is just your phone number. And now it's fine if it says blank's phone or blank's this, because as long as it has your name in it, it's easy for me to tell. If you are with someone, meaning if you're a couple, you could change your name to, let's say, blank and blank or something like that. You should make your name very clear to the host, who you are and who you're with. So if it says 08265 phone, that does not tell me who you are, or it doesn't give me any information about you. So if you look on the screen right now, I'm going to first show you if you're on your computer, then you're going to click on participants at the bottom of the screen, which we mentioned before. All right, Joe, next. And once you do that, you'll see on the right side of the screen, or as a pop-up, it will say participants, and it will show you all the people who are in the meeting. All right, next. If you hover your mouse, meaning if you bring your mouse over your name, so you want to find your name in that list of participants, it should be either on the right side of the screen or somewhere in the middle. That list of participants, you might have to scroll to find you. Usually you'll be at the top, but you want to bring your mouse over to your name and click on more. Once you click on more, there's an option that says rename. And once you click on that, you will type in the name you want. It says enter new name here. You could type in anything you want using your keyboard, like Jordan Mittler or Jordan's iPhone, whatever it is. I asked that if your current name is some phone number or some weird digits that I can't tell who you are, please change that, so I know who's in the Zoom meeting. Now on the phones, it's pretty similar. On the phones, after you click on join or new meeting, directly below the meeting ID, you can see it says Jordan Mittler right over here, but you could just change that directly there. So on your phone, as soon as you click on join meeting or new meeting, you'll be able to change your name just by typing in directly below the meeting ID. It says Jordan Mittler here, but you could click on that and change your name to anything you want. So on the phone, it's a little bit easier because you could do it before you even enter the Zoom meeting. Okay. All right, so now this is the last thing I'm going to do before I pass over to Julia again. I want to show everyone how to ask questions on Zoom, because you're all currently muted. So, and I only see maybe 3 or 4 or 5 of you. So it's hard if someone's raising their hands and all the way down at the bottom of the screen, it's hard for me to actually tell that you're raising your hand and you want to ask a question. If I'm gonna do the phone first, and then I'll go to the computer. If you're currently on your phone, you should click in the middle of the screen so that you get that bar at the bottom, meaning the options at the bottom. You'll see 3 or 4 things you can click on at the bottom, and you want to click on more. It should be all the way at the bottom right. And once you click on that, you'll see an option that says raise hand. So once again, you want to click on more at the bottom right of the screen, and then click on raise hand. Once you do that, your hand will be raised, and I'll get a beep or a notification that you have a question, and that way I'll be able to unmute you and hear your question. To lower your hand, meaning after you finish asking your question, it's the same thing. You click on more and you click on lower hand, meaning that that button that originally said raise hand will now say lower hand. It's as easy as that. Now on the computers, at the bottom, you're going to click on participants again, right? The same space that you changed your name, participants. And at the bottom of that tab, you'll see an option that says raise hand. at the bottom of that tab that once you click on participants, you'll see an option that says raise hand. And then as soon as you click on it, I see now many people are raising your hands. I hope that doesn't mean you all have questions, but that you're just testing it out. Once you click on that, it means it gave me that beep or that notification that you all have questions. And I see a little box that says you have a question. And to lower your hand, which I ask that you all do right now, you just click on that same button that says lower hand. So once again, you want to click on participants and raise and lower hand. And this is how I'm going to expect everyone to ask questions during the session. And not just hold up your hand on the Zoom, because it's hard for me to actually see. It's hard for me to see to see everyone's hands. So please do this virtually now, since you all know how to do this. Raise your hand virtually so I can see if you have a question. All right, next, Joe. All right, Julia, want to do this or should I?
Sure. Okay. So on Zoom, one of the cool features is that you are able to add a virtual background behind your picture instead of just the normal background in your room. So you can make it look like you're at a beach or somewhere really cool in the background instead of your house. So the way to do this is on the bottom left on a computer, right next to the start video or stop video function is an arrow that's facing up. If you click on that arrow, you see the option choose virtual background. And if you click on that, choose virtual background, Zoom will give you a bunch of options of virtual backgrounds that you can select, which will place like a backdrop behind you. So it will show your face, and then behind you, it will show one of these virtual backgrounds that Zoom allows. If you don't want one of these virtual backgrounds that Zoom wants, you can also add a picture or something from your camera and put that as your virtual background. But the easiest thing to do would be to use one of the preset virtual backgrounds given by Zoom. On a phone, it's a little bit different. So in order to get a virtual background on your phone, you would go all the way to the bottom right. You see the 3 dots, which say more underneath. If you click on that, it's going to give you a list of options. And the 4th one, virtual background, if you click on that, you will get the option to change your virtual background. And you can then, that will open up a tab with a plus, and it's gonna, once you press that plus, it will give you the different virtual backgrounds offered by Zoom that you can put in the background of your picture. Okay, so if you want to add a photo to your virtual background instead of one of the preset ones, on your phone, you would click on your camera roll, and you can see here if you wanted to make your virtual background a picture of Zoom in the background, you would click on that picture, and that would set this picture of the Zoom logo behind you when you click that as your virtual background. So if I were to click this picture of Zoom, it would have the picture of me in front, and then behind me, you would see a virtual background. So as you can see here, Joe is sharing his screen. If he clicks on this beach here, this makes him with the virtual background of him being on the beach.
Whoa.
So it gives the illusion that you are not in your house. You're actually somewhere much cooler than your house. So you can click on different options here for different virtual backgrounds.
Excellent. Okay. All right. So I'm going to ask now if you have any questions on anything we've done Zoom related up until now. Please raise your hand virtually, and I will be happy to call on you. I'm going to give everyone a few seconds to find that raised hand. I see 2 participants have done this. Remember that these questions should be specifically Zoom related, and because that's all we've done so far. Okay. I see. Let's start with. I'm not sure who this is because it has a phone number. Let's see. Let me see. Okay. Yeah. Renee, do you have a question?
Yeah, so I'm just a little confused. How do I join Zoom directly from WhatsApp?
So I sent everyone this morning a link and a meeting ID. If you directly click on the link, it will just bring you into the meeting. Meaning the link that I sent you, you have to click on it and it will take you into the meeting. The meeting ID is if you first open Zoom, and then it will ask you to type in the meeting ID. Basically, the link is a shortcut. So you just click on the link and it will take you directly into the meeting without any other options.
Yes, but the WhatsApp is on my iPhone, and I'm using my laptop to participate in this Zoom meeting.
So okay, so in the case that you want to join on a different device, you either have to type in the meeting ID, which I think you did today. If you got in, you could just type it in, or you could email the link to yourself on your computer. Once again, I mentioned at the beginning, if any of you specifically would like emails as opposed to WhatsApp, please let me know, and I can make that happen and send you an email with the link that you could directly click on. Okay, Michael Appel, go ahead.
Is there a time limit to the Zoom meeting?
Okay, so if you have the free Zoom account, meaning you're not paying anything extra for the Zoom, you have a maximum of 45 minutes with 3 people or more. So if you're having a conversation with one person, you have unlimited time. If it's 3 people or more, you have a maximum of 45 minutes. If you're paying for a certain subscription, then you have unlimited time. Like I have a premium account for this class, so I could have more than 45 minutes. I need this to last an hour. But if you're using the free Zoom account, you have a 45-minute limit with 3 people or more.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. And you could also, meaning, let's say you want to have a 2-hour call with your family, 10 people, you could, just restart the Zoom. You could start a new Zoom meeting and it's just send them the information again. Okay. Let's see. Harvey, do you have a question? You have to unmute yourself. Let me see. It's hard to hear. Okay, I'm not seeing you. Yes, there you are. There you are, Harvey. I hear you.
Sorry. You had said that at the bottom of the list of participants, it should say, I have a question.
At the bottom of the list of participants, you should see a button that says raise hand.
Okay, raise hand. And that didn't exist on my iPad. But
why is on your iPad, you have to use it. iPad's similar to the phone. So on the iPad, you have to click on the button that says more at the bottom right, and then click on raise hand. So more, raise hand. That's what you have to do on an iPad or a phone. The computers, you have to click on participants.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Okay, I'm going to take one more question. I see Reba. Do you have a question? You have to unmute yourself.
Okay.
And I also see someone with a phone number 047275. I'm not sure who that is. You could just call out because you're both unmuted.
Okay. My camera is working, but the Zoom camera is not.
Okay, so that's a question that I could handle at the Tuesday Q&A or something personal because I don't want to start dealing with that now. But you could reach out to me after the class.
Okay, thank you.
All right, and then I have one more person that I don't know who it is. You're unmuted if you have a question.
If I did download you on the link, am I automatically in WhatsApp?
If you type into your internet, mittlersenior.technology/WhatsApp, you'll be taken directly into the WhatsApp, and there's nothing else you have to do. Once again, if you have WhatsApp questions, you could.
I'm now talking to you through WhatsApp.
You're talking to me right now on Zoom.
On Zoom. But I still have to download you into WhatsApp.
Yeah, WhatsApp. If you have a question about WhatsApp, you can come to the Tuesday Q&A session. Okay, I'm sorry, you guys. I do want to move on, and I want to look at FaceTime now. FaceTime is a program similar to Zoom that allows people to connect with friends and family on their smartphones in an incredible way. Joe, you can start the screen share process. I do want to point out that that FaceTime is only accessible on Apple phones. or Apple devices, meaning an Apple computer, an Apple iPad, only on Apple devices, Apple device to Apple device. You cannot use FaceTime to FaceTime someone who does not have an Apple device, or if you yourself doesn't have an Apple device, you cannot use it. There are other functions of ways that you could do video calls, such as WhatsApp. There's a way to do it there, and Skype, and of course Zoom that we're on right now. FaceTime, the program that we're going to look at right now, is specific to Apple phones, and we're not going to spend too much time on this because I know not everyone here does have an Apple phone, but I'm hoping that you have some sort of Apple device, whether it's an iPad or a computer or a phone. FaceTime is accessible on all of these. All right, Joe, is the screen share coming? There we go. All right, great. Okay, all right, so here, I'll do the beginning and then Julia will pick up once we get into the FaceTime. So there are a few ways you could access FaceTime. The first one and the most obvious one is by clicking on that button. It should be somewhere in the middle of your screen, somewhere maybe in a different place, but it looks like this. Joe, bring your mouse. No, go back to the home screen and you want to bring your mouse, yeah, there it is. It basically looks like Zoom, but it's green. It's green and has a white video camera in it. And that's the first way, just by clicking on that. A few other options are if you click on the phone, if you click on the phone at the bottom, you get all your contacts. And if you click on anyone's name, meaning anyone that you might want to FaceTime, just go click on someone. If you click on anyone, you'll see directly below their name that option that says FaceTime. It's blue. Joe, your mouse, great. And you can click on that directly from there. The next option, if you go back home, is through messages. If you click on messages and you open up a conversation with someone, you can click on their name at the top, and you'll see FaceTime is directly under their name. And those are the three ways I'm going to mention. So let me just repeat that because I said that pretty fast. You can click on FaceTime, which is just the icon. It's somewhere on your screen. It says FaceTime directly below it, and you're in. That's it. You can click on Messages or the Messages app, and then click on FaceTime under someone's name, under the person you want to FaceTime under their name, or you can click on that phone icon at the bottom right. It might be somewhere else on your screen. Remember, placement is different on all devices. But if you click on the phone, you can click on anyone's name in your contacts. And click on FaceTime from there. The easiest way and the most common way is just by clicking on FaceTime, which is the icon in the middle of the screen. Okay, Julia is going to show you now how to make a FaceTime call, how to flip your camera, how to add people, and use effects.
Okay, so once you're in the FaceTime app, and you want to start a FaceTime with somebody, you have a couple options. Either you can scroll on the list of people that you could see Joe has here, and these are all people that he's recently FaceTimed. So if he chooses, if he knows that he's FaceTimed this person in the past, pretty recently, you can just scroll on this list of people and it should appear. But if you're FaceTiming somebody for the first time, you know that you've never spoken to them, their name won't be on that list. So what you would need to do is press the plus button on the top right, and that will give you a list. That will give you the option to type in a name. So let's say Joe wanted to FaceTime Jordan. He would type in Jordan's name, and you could see Jordan pops up. You would click on Jordan's name and start that FaceTime. So you can either access a FaceTime through the list of people that is given to you, all of your recent FaceTimes, or by clicking the plus and typing in the person who you want to FaceTime. So if Joe starts this FaceTime with Jordan, I'm going to show you a bunch of different options once you're already on that FaceTime. So if he clicks on video, you can see here that Jordan is FaceTiming, that Joe is FaceTiming Jordan. And once they're on this FaceTime call, there's a bunch of different options that they can do. So if Joe clicks on his screen, you can see that this menu bar pops up on the bottom. So the first thing I'm going to show you is the flip button. So as you can see, there's a camera. When Joe clicks on his screen, you see a camera. And that camera, we can show either his face or around his room. So let's say Joe wanted to give Jordan a virtual tour
Joe,
of his house. Flip
have
the
you done,
camera.
Joe, have you done breakout rooms? Joe, have you done the breakout rooms? You did? Okay, good.
Okay, so once you click on that flip button, it's going to show around your house. Then the mute button you can similar to Zoom, you can mute yourself on FaceTime. Unlike Zoom, you can't mute other people. So on FaceTime, you can only mute yourself. And on Zoom, if you're the host, you can mute other people. Then the last thing I want to show you all the way on the left is the effects button. So if you press on that button, there's a bunch of different effects that you can do to yourself that are unique to FaceTime. So if you click all the way on the left, you can add filters to your face. You can see here you can add text to your picture. You can add emojis. And this is just a fun way. If you're on the phone with friends, you can add these different effects just for fun. So those are the different options on Zoom. The last thing I want to show you is when you could see when Joe clicks on his screen, all the way on the left is a white button. That looks like the camera button on your phone. And when you click on that button, that's going to take a picture of the FaceTime. So Joe, as you can see, when he clicked on that white button, it says, you just took a FaceTime photo. And if Joe goes into his camera roll, you can see the picture of them on FaceTime. So, no. If Joe goes to his camera roll, then he will be able to see the screenshot that he took of the two of them on FaceTime.
Okay, great. I'm going to end this call. There we go. All right, Joe, you can go back to the presentation. I also want to point out that the flip camera tool that Julia showed you is very helpful. Let's say you want to see if like your oven is on, an example, something like that. You could FaceTime one of your children and flip your camera and show them the oven, and they could see that. So flip camera is a cool tool used, and because sometimes on FaceTime you FaceTime someone because you want to show them something, and it's hard to kind of hold up something with your camera there. So it's much easier to flip the camera and turn it. Okay, next slide, Joe. So I just want to mention a few of the differences because these are the two things that we looked at today. FaceTime is mainly for a fewer number of people. You can see it's FaceTime can have a lot of people, but it makes it hard to see everyone when you have so many people because their faces get so small. Zoom can have up until 1,000 people, a great number of people. FaceTime usually works best with 2 to maybe 4 or 5 people at max. Now FaceTime is more casual. It's more like making a phone call versus Zoom is more a formal setting for, you could screen share. It's more an official setting. And then last, the accessibility. Once again, FaceTime is only accessible on Apple devices, and Zoom you can download on any device. For those of you who do not have an Apple device, you could use programs such as WhatsApp or Skype in order to make FaceTime calls, video calls. FaceTime's only for Apple. And I'm not going to show you those now, but we could do that at a different time. Okay. Does anyone have any questions right now on anything FaceTime related before we move on to our last topic for today? Remember, if you have a question, please raise your hand virtually, not physically. So I see. All right. I don't see anyone. All right, Geeta, I see you have a question. You have to unmute yourself, and please next time use that virtual hand. You want to click on unmute? I'm sorry, I can't hear you. It says you're muted. Okay, I'm sorry, but I can't get that audio. Please, you can call me afterwards and ask me that question. Just because I'm sorry, I can't hear you. Okay, Ruth Shapiro, do you have a question?
Yeah, I couldn't get the changing the background.
Okay, so
I clicked, it didn't move.
So on the virtual background on Zoom, are you on a computer or your phone?
Computer.
So on your computer, as I think Julia showed you, next to video at the bottom left, you click on that little arrow, and it will say virtual background. Here, Joe, you want to go back into the presentation?
Okay. I think I just
Yep, there you
heard
go.
background. Okay.
All right, and that's it. Okay, I want to go to, okay. All right, I want to mention quickly accessing the news, a program, Joe, you can share your screen on your phone. This is something we're going to spend maybe 2 minutes on because there's not so many steps to it. I just want to make sure that that everyone can access the news, especially during a time like this where there's a lot of news going on and something that you might want to pay attention to. So on your phone, just like FaceTime, you're going to see another app that looks like news. In Joe's case, it's at the top right of the screen, but on your phone, it might be in a different location. It has a little pink N on top of a white background. For those of you who have an older phone, it might look a little more like a newspaper, but it should look something like this, and it should say news directly below it. It might be somewhere else on your screen. You might have to swipe left or right to find it. Joe, you can click on that. And basically, on your phone Joe, you can click on it. This is an interactive way to actually read articles and watch videos and find pictures regarding the news. Now, it says the date at the top, meaning this is updated every second, meaning with new articles. At the top, it says top stories. You can keep scrolling and find different categories from different services. Joe, you can just scroll. Let's see what yours says. It says different trending stories, top 4. What's cooking for you, and basically that section that says for you will put news articles that they think that are suggested for you. So if every time you open this app you click on a sports article, then in that for you section they'll have all the sports articles, because this news is remembering your history and remembers what you enjoy, and we'll click on it. So Joe, let's click on one of the articles. Doesn't matter which one. And all you have to do is click on it, and you'll get access to it. Now, if you scroll all the way to the top, there's 2 buttons at the top right. One of them, there's 2 A's, the small A and a big A. If you click on that, you have the ability to make the text bigger or smaller. If you click on the small A, you'll make it smaller and smaller and smaller. If you click on the big A, you'll make it bigger and bigger and bigger. Once again, you access this by clicking on any article in the news app, just by clicking on the headline, by clicking on any article in the news app, and you could change the font size at the top right, where there's the little a and the big A. Now, one more thing on this article is directly to the right of that is the share button. It's a box with an arrow pointing up, and if you click on that, you could send the article. You could share the article with anyone. Meaning, you could text that to someone. It gives you the option to email, copy the link or AirDrop it. A bunch of cool ways to share, and you could do this just by clicking on that share button at the top right of the screen. So once again, once you open the news app, you'll be confronted with a bunch of cool articles in different categories. You can click on any one that you're interested in reading. And at the top right, you could change the text size by clicking on the big A and the little a, or you can click on the share button, which is all the way at the top right, that box with the arrow pointing up, and you could send the article using messages, or email, or however you want to share the article. This is an app that you could play around with, kind of flip through it, and you can open different articles. And I recommend you using this as a resource to actually find articles. Okay, Joe, you can go back to the presentation. And in our last few minutes, I'm going to show you now. Joe, you could play the video. Sorry, everyone. Let's wait 1 second until this plays. If it doesn't, we'll move on, but let's see. Okay. All right. We only have a few minutes left, so I just want to explain what this is and show you what it is, because we're going to be doing this pretty much every week. Basically, a breakout room is a way for the host to divide up the people in the meeting into different individual rooms so that they could have conversations by themselves or have specific private meetings. And in this case, I would use it to have you do one of the activities that we worked on today. So for example, today I might have you make a FaceTime call, or I might have you use the news app and find an article. And it's basically a way for me to get a break from my voice and to allow you to stop hearing me talk and actually work on the devices yourself. So basically the way this is going to work is after I open the breakout rooms, you'll see a button in the middle of your screen that will say join breakout room. The button that will say, you don't see it yet because I didn't click on it yet, but it will say join breakout room, and you just have to click on that, and that's it. It will come up automatically. You'll click on join breakout room. Once again, you're all muted right now, but once you're in the breakout room, you'll be able to mute and unmute yourself using that button at the bottom left. And the video button in which you could mute and unmute and turn your video on and off. Those are at the bottom left of the screen. Now, once you're in the breakout room, there's a button that says ask for help. This is something, now today, because we don't have so much time left, you're not gonna have such a big thing to do. But usually if you click on ask for help, that's a button you do not see right now because you're not in the breakout room yet. But once you are there, it will be at the bottom of the screen. You can click on, and either me, Julia, or Joe will come into your room and help you with whatever you need. And then when I close the breakout rooms, it will say 30-second reminder and just a button that will say return to main session, which means come back into the main session. Okay, Joe, next slide. Originally I wanted you to find a news article in your phone. I want you to actually find an article and increase the text size. This is something that we're not going to have time for today. But Joe, what I think we could do is we could just open the breakout rooms for a second, and then you guys could all come back. So we're going to do that now. Please click on join breakout room, and I'm going to have everyone come back in like 2 seconds because I just want everyone to get the feel of opening and closing a breakout room. And then I'm going to wrap it up for today because I know we're out of time. I just want everyone to get that taste. So Joe, go ahead and click on open breakout rooms. Everyone, please click on join breakout room, and I'll see you in like 5 seconds. I'm going to close this out. I just want to make sure you get the hang of it. All right, Joe, go ahead. Everyone should click on join breakout room now. You're all going to come back soon. 11, 10. Join breakout room. In the middle of the screen, join breakout room. Please click on that button. All right, is it just, no. Jordan, Joe, Julia, Jeff. All right, Ruth Shapiro, please click on join breakout room. Gershon family, join breakout room. Everyone should click on join breakout room. Okay, Joe, share the screen to welcome back, and then click on, and then close the rooms. Okay. Joe, quick, open up the rooms. Close the room, sorry. Joe, are they closed?
It's an automatic warning for 30 seconds. It was set before.
Okay, it's 30 seconds, it's getting them out?
Yeah, 15 more.
Okay, now present. Everyone should be coming back in. I'm sorry for that kind of quick turnaround, but we don't have so much time today, so I want to make sure you got that experience. Let's wait a few more seconds before everyone comes back in. Okay, everyone's back. I'm sorry that we had to do that very quickly today. We actually ran out of time, but next week you are going to have time to go into the breakout rooms and work on something that we're going to talk about today. Okay, next slide, Joe. All right. A few things you could do this week. I know, I'm sorry, this was a little rushed towards the end, but I wanted to get in as much information today as possible. These are a few things that if you are free, if you're not doing anything, things you could practice that we worked on today. Create a Zoom meeting for your family, make a FaceTime call, and read the news on your smartphone. Those are the 3 topics we covered today that you all now know how to do. And I urge you to practice and if you have some free time to actually do some of this. All right, Joe, next. All right, I hope you all enjoyed today's class. This is now the end of the class. The class was recorded once again, so I will send you a link to the recorded class if you want to rewatch a piece of the class or missed a specific segment. This Tuesday, June 23rd at 7 p.m. will be a Q&A. I will be leading the Q&A session. It's going to be 7 to 7:45. The first few minutes will be WhatsApp specific. So if anyone is not in the WhatsApp chat or wants to get into my WhatsApp to get updates, please come to that Q&A session. If you already have WhatsApp or just have a question, also feel free to join. Our next class is 7 days, a week from today, Sunday, June 28th at 11:30 a.m. Once again, Zoom could have as many people as possible, so please share this information with anyone who you think can benefit from the classes. You all now have the meeting ID and the link. I sent it in the WhatsApp, and I'll send it again every week. All right, Joe, last slide. I hope everyone had a great time. This was our first class, and I hope you enjoyed it. Please reach out to any of us if you have any questions. You have our emails, and you're also in the WhatsApp, so you have some of our phone numbers. And I hope you have an amazing week and a very happy Father's Day. Joe, you could unmute everyone. So